Welcome to Season 4 of John McGivern's Main Streets.
I hope there are some open cup holders in our crew van.
The Main Streets podcast takes you behind the scenes of this popular PBS Wisconsin program. Now, get the inside scoop on this week's episode from hosts John McGivern and Emmy Fink and the Main Streets producer and director Lois Maurer.
Well, Iowa was fun. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We just came back. It's episode 4 of season 4 of John McGivern's Main Streets. I am here, of course, with Lois Maurer, who is our executive producer. Hello, Lois.
Hello, John.
Iowa was great, huh?
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. Here with Emmy Fink, who is my co-host. Hi, Emmy.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Thanks. And we're here with the producer of the episode, Ken Schellen.
Hello.
Hey, Ken.
Hi there.
Good job on this episode.
Thank you.
Because you love Iowa, don't you?
I have a connection to Iowa. I have a certain place in my heart for Iowa.
What's your connection?
I went to the University of Iowa, as you'll recall from the Iowa City episode a couple seasons ago.
So did you know Cedar Rapids before?
A little bit. It was like a little on my radar because I would drive through it or I stopped there a few times, went there with friends. It's not that far from Iowa City. But I always thought like, I was just passing through. So I never got to know it, never dug into it. So I was quite impressed. Oh, there is a nice downtown and, nice nature. And I think I always just thought, it's just a bunch of grain silos in that area. Yeah. Well, it is. It's a huge food processing place, but there's so much more that we discovered when we started getting to know it.
Yeah. And I love that you guys go there just to check out the communities, and you go there in the middle of the winter, and then we get there in the middle of the summer. It's like, well, this town sure looks nice.
Yeah.
Where I was hoping in the middle of winter, we're like, well, there'll probably be plants there, and that tree will be filled in, so this will look nice.
Right. Yeah. Favorites? Any memories of Cedar Rapids? Emmy, what do you have to say about Cedar Rapids?
Well, on my day, which was everybody's last day, do you remember what happened that morning?
Yeah.
Lois is a stickler about starting on time. You are a stickler about starting on time. We couldn't start on time because Mother Nature was literally having a tornado party outside. I mean, I watched it come down.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Brian and I went to the top of the hotel, which is a restaurant up there, and it's all glass up there. And we literally, during that tornado, were up there thinking, what are we going to capture? This could be very cool, but it was very frightening.
Right.
All the sirens were going off. That was a first.
Wow.
And they say get into the basement, and that was a high-rise hotel. I mean, we were like sitting ducks in a way.
Yeah.
How did we end up doing our stuff? What did we do? Did we wait for a while?
Yeah, we waited for a while. The last interview of that day, we just went late. I don't recall, to be honest with you. But
we did the couple of things that were indoors first, but it rained the remainder of the day. It was like there's an extra hand holding the umbrella over us. You know how it goes to make it look like it's not raining.
Right.
So.
Well, the whole purpose of the show is this is what we found the days we went. We never promised that this is what this city always looks like on a beautiful day. Yeah. We shoot no matter what the weather is, so we have to make it work. And sometimes you have to get creative, and sometimes you just have to say, oh, well, Emmy's going to be wet.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love Grant Wood Studio, the painter of American Gothic, where he lived, where he painted, where he was inspired. Yeah. And we talked to Sean Ulmer, who really knew his stuff and was so...
What a good docent.
Docent.
Yeah, he's really comfortable to talk to. I think that it's still, though, if you're in Cedar Rapids, everybody knows Grant Wood. But if you're outside, you know American Gothic, right? Yeah. And you maybe don't know who the painter was. Did you know, Emmy, who he was?
I only knew from seeing the painting. Like what we did, seeing the painting. No.
Right.
It was painted right there in that little room
that we were in.
Yeah.
And that he lived there with his mom, and he just had really interesting personal history, which by looking at the painting didn't click with me. And then you find out it's like his dentist, his sister, and you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
Inspired by the house.
By the house.
Not
That's where it
the
started.
subjects.
He wondered what kind of people would live in such a house. So he created this couple, and his sitters were his sister, Nan, and his dentist, Dr. Byron McKeevy. And some people say, well, are they husband and wife? And others say, what is it, father and daughter? Eventually, Nan said, I'm going to clear this up. He's way too old for me to have married.
Right.
And so she
And he's a dentist.
Yeah, he's a dentist.
I thought that was like two people that he just happened upon in rural Iowa and painted their picture. No, it was all set up, but what a great picture.
Yeah, and you think he's this famous painter, but we got to hear from Julie and Angela from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They told us all about his history. He was painting houses, like just painting the house or making a fence for someone trying to earn a living.
Yeah.
Come on, and living in that little studio, and then he makes it big.
Yeah. Yeah, which was really cool.
And the studio, is that open to the public?
For tours,
For tours it is.
Because
Yeah,
remember
certain
the tourism
times.
center's kind of in the bottom of it, and that's where you can stand next to the painting. So that's the most parodied painting in existence, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody does the American Gothic pose.
There's the Mona Lisa.
We
and
did
that
it.
are
We
kind
did
of
it.
the- right. They're kind of the most famous paintings, but American Gothic is so much more spoofable. You can
Yes,
do so many
exactly.
things. Yeah.
Favorites, you guys? What
Let's talk Matthew 25. That's one that when I did some shout outs to people, and everybody mentioned Matthew 25, this nonprofit that has an urban farm that you guys went to because it was a beautiful place to shoot. But they also have a pay it forward cafe, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
You can go there and buy your meal, maybe even pay a little extra for your meal, but other people who can't afford lunch can come there and eat for free. So it's really a way for the community to help those less fortunate. And it's all under that umbrella of Matthew 25.
And you call it an urban garden. It was made on the land that was decimated by the floods because Cedar Rapids is right on the river. So an entire area of town was completely taken out. And there's a few homes still in the middle of these gardens that it's like a very interesting part of right in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
And what a kind man he is. I'm like, oh Lord, he's going to heaven.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I am. But he's a much nicer man than me.
Yeah,
He's a
Clint.
really good guy.
Clint
We
is great.
occasionally meet those people where we get in the van and we all look at each other and go, we
What
are
happened to me?
terrible.
We are terrible
Why aren't we
people.
good like him? They do good things in their community and they make good stories and they do good work. And I'm really happy to be able to feature them. But they aren't the only ones. When we went to Willie Ray.
Willie Ray's got to be on that list too.
Willie Ray is somebody
Barbecue.
who not only awesome food, but he goes on the road, right? He packs up his whole kitchen and all his food, and then he just goes and feeds people.
Right.
Like in places where there's been disasters or where
my
people need something. Yeah.
gosh.
And he just packs it up and goes.
He mentioned in the interview that he was leaving right after he talked to you. He's
He
like, yeah, we got to pack up.
that day.
Yeah.
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 He's like, I got to go because there's hungry
Packing up his
people who have
trailers
nothing.
and his mobile kitchens and on his way out. Again, got in our van and said, oh, they're going to heaven. What is wrong with us?
I know, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's
And
He
such
was a character,
Such a
too.
nice guy too. Yeah.
He was funny. He was kind of a smart aleck.
Yeah.
He was also busy, remember? Because we were like, okay, let's wait 1 second. He'd run off and we'd be like, where is he? He had food to cook. He had people to get lined up.
He can't
and we were
burn that
like,
brisket.
oh, yes,
Right. On,
that's
on the
cute.
site survey, we had heard about him, but we didn't call him ahead of time. We just went and ate there. And we first got our meal and he wasn't around. Oh, is Willie here? Oh, no, he'll be here. And then we're halfway through lunch and he walked in. We just introduced ourselves and boom, it was like we knew he was in. He was chatting with us and joking with us. And then we mentioned we're with a TV show and then he was chatting with us more and joking with us more. And it was
But he liked you first before he
Yeah, I like to
knew
think so.
about the
I like to think
camera,
so, yeah.
right?
We don't like to go in and tell people what we're doing there in case we don't pick them.
Right.
That's the truth, right? You have to go in on the down low and just be like, okay, this is good, And occasionally you go to some place and there's a vibe that you say, maybe not for the show, but I make no promises until we know. Like Ken said, Willie is somebody we just knew.
And I think that's so interesting because one of the questions I get asked all the time is how do not only the locations get chose, how do the places you feature in these cities get chosen? And you have an idea somewhat before the site survey, but then you can completely pivot
You have to
and
be open
decide
to whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Didn't you love going to New Bow Market? Because I know you love the public market here in Milwaukee.
I do. Yeah.
And that was a much smaller scale, but
That was our
so
segment
great.
together.
It was.
So I interviewed the woman who runs it, and then we went shopping together.
I
Sort of.
found food.
You found food. I found Macrame.
A match made in heaven.
The gentleman from Jamaica who made that jerk chicken sandwich that I got to eat,
Yeah.
not only was he just adorable, I could have listened to him talk all day. That sandwich was out of this world fantastic.
Right. Yeah. The Czech Museum? Who'd we talk to? Cecilia?
Oh, that's such a heritage part of Cedar Rapids, right?
Yeah.
The whole Czechoslovak. And it's their national museum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of just a few Czech and Slovak national museums. So yeah, it's very notable that way.
Beautiful museum as well.
And Cecilia is a character.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
definitely
She's
know that.
Terrific.
Because
She was.
on our site survey, we were touring around and saw the place, and then she basically made us do shots. We had to do that.
It was plum. It was plum brandy or something.
Slivovica or something like that. She's like, well, I got to have some of this before you leave. So we usually don't
miss
do a
that?
shot with the director of the museum that we're checking out. So that was different.
Then you know it's going to be a good lady.
Right, exactly.
And she
fed
brought
us.
treats. So I was going to
Yeah.
say, and she brought treats on the day of the shoot. So
What are they called?
kolache.
Kolaches.
Right.
Which is kind of like a prune Danish.
Oh, and she had lemon or she had cherry. Remember, they're kind of like turnovers. They're kind of like
kinds.
Right.
folded up.
Every sort of ethnic group has their kolaches. They just
Right.
don't call them those.
Exactly. Exactly. But those were so kind too, because you know they were homemade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she offered us the plum brandy as well. But as well, he's in recovery.
I got you. I got
I
your
love
back.
it. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. It was surprising, the city.
Here, you want to know what surprised me?
What?
Mount Trashmore.
Mount?
Okay, all I'm going to say is I know that you've got to do something with your garbage, and it's good. It's a landfill,
Yeah.
but now you make it into a beautiful recreation area, trails and parks. You couldn't come up with a better name than Trashmore.
And I think we said that in the show, didn't we? Kind of rewrite the thing. Like, we're just
Maybe
going
I
to.
told you let's not offend them, but seriously, Trashmore?
Yeah.
I get it, Rushmore, Trashmore, but can I tell you?
Right.
We would have called it like, what would you have called it?
Steaming pile of.
The Big Hill.
Yeah, it's not going to work either.
I would have called it like the Mountain of Serenity,
Right.
something that
Oh,
makes
there you
it
go.
so much more.
Why is it smoking a little bit?
Why is it stinky a little bit?
Do you remember when we were going out of town? It was our last stop, and we went to the Indian
Yes.
Creek Nature Center.
Remember all the birds? I
And the
remember that.
bird room and
Yes.
the bee cabinet.
Yes.
And they had all of those cool animals in the, underneath the glass floor.
yeah,
with like the
it was
river.
well done.
That place was incredible for any age. They had like 4K
Yep.
options for you to send
I
your
wish
kids
we
to this
would have had more
nature
time,
school.
but if you remember, that was the whole rainy day. And we
Right.
were, oh my gosh. we
Already
were-
behind schedule.
Yeah, we were already, exactly. So we didn't get there till just about when it closed. Oh yeah, because that stand-up was about the birds and the bees, remember?
Right. That's
Who
right.
knew we would find the birds and the bees in Cedar Rapids? I thought that was cute.
I was a little afraid of falling asleep in their bird sanctuary room because at that time it was the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
The sun was coming out. The weather was improving just as we were leaving town. And that was, talk about serenity, your mountain of
Yes.
serenity. That place was so serene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not far from downtown. Like you could go there every couple days and get your serenity.
Yep,
do your
get
yoga.
your countryside
Yeah.
feel, for sure.
Good episode.
Very good.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Iowa. Kind of a big city in Iowa, I think, isn't it? Isn't it one of the bigger
is.
ones?
I think it's the second largest in the state. So yep, this is one of our big city episodes.
Very good. We have a fan shout out, of course. It's Jennifer Doheny from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you, Jennifer, for watching and for supporting John McGivern's Main Streets. And we have a sponsor shout out, do we?
We do. Speaking of supporting the show, a great way to support the show, since all of these communities get featured complimentary, we like to say,
Yeah.
is by becoming a sponsor of the show and becoming an underwriter. And their messages are seen twice during the show, once at the beginning and once at the end. And since we were talking about Danish already, I think it's just makes sense to talk about O&H Bakery,
Yeah.
which is based in Racine. They actually celebrated their 75th year making kringles is what they're known for. And the best part is you can buy kringles online and have them shipped anywhere in the world. That's what they're known for. But my favorite are the glazed croissants. I've turned you on to them.
Oh.
They're the best donut
Ever?
I'm going to say that you're going to ever have anywhere.
And if you're near Racine, you really need to stop in to their store
Which
right
is
off
really
the highway,
beautiful.
and it is a beautiful store.
It is. It's beautiful. Right off of Highway 20. There's a few locations, though. They have a location in Oak Creek, one in Mount Pleasant, one in Racine. So we
But
just...
they don't have the kitchen that we went through when we went down there.
Right.
Yeah, we
Oh
got
my
behind the scenes. John got to make, was that cherry cheese you got to make
That's
that
what it
day
was,
we were
I
there?
believe. Yeah, it was
From
good.
Door County Cherries. So we want to just thank Eric and Matt and everyone at O&H for being a great sponsor to us.
Very good. Good seeing you guys. That was episode 4, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, of season 4 of John McGivern's Main Streets. See you guys again.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, John.
Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. Proceeds go to help us get next season into production, so come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv.